Location, and we're here at OhioCon 2013 with Richard Horvitz.
Hello, everyone. How are you? It is I, Richard Horvitz.
All right. How have you been enjoying your time here at OhioCon?
I've been like this. I've been loving it here. Everyone's been very kind, great fans, great organizers and promoters. Really a fun event.
All right. Now, you've been in a number of roles over the years, some of my personal favorites being Zim and Invader Zim and Raz and Psychonauts. What's the biggest incentive that you get out of voice acting work?
You know, I get to make a good living playing pretend and playing with my friends. You know, if you could spend your life just, hanging out with your friends and getting to be funny and work with amazing artists and writers, that's like a great job. So that's my biggest incentive.
All right.
Fun is my incentive.
Okay. Between working in voice acting, you've also worked in advertising, on-screen roles, theater, a number of different areas. What challenges have you noticed in each, and how has working in all of these different areas of acting influenced each other?
Well, I approach all of them the same way. I have a kind of a set of acting rules that I live by, that it doesn't matter the venue, be it voiceover, stage, film, TV, any of it. It's all about playing pretend. Some people say, oh, well, there's a way you approach theater, which is different than the way you approach voiceover, but it's not. I approach it all the same. It's just what I call willingness to play pretend and enter secondary realities.
You've said that Speed Racer is your favorite cartoon. What in particular?
Yes! Speed Racer, I love it. I want a Mach 5 so badly. Peterson Auto Museum in Los Angeles has a Mach 5. It doesn't have the the jumps, the jacks, the boosters, and the homing pigeon, and the underwater, and the saw blades, and all that. But it is really cool. I don't know. Sometimes, Speed Racer, the theme song, is still in my iPod. So sometimes if I'm driving, I'll just, hit the track and be, vroom, vroom. Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels.
All right.
What influenced me about him?
Yeah.
Coolness and all of this. High speed. Hi, Trixie. Trixie, you can't come along. You're a girl. You remember what year that was? Don't tell Danica Patrick that.
All right. Yeah. You've also performed sketch comedy with Fred Willard and the Mohos.
Yes.
Could you share with us that experience?
One of the honors of my life and joys of my life is performing with the Mohos. We perform once a month in Los Angeles at Second City, at Second City Theater. Fred has, been so generous and kind and completely supportive and helpful in my career. Fred and I have done the Jimmy Kimmel Show together. We did the Tonight Show together. We've done a lot of stuff. And he introduced me to some of my idols growing up. The way the fans come here and tell me, oh my gosh, you raised me. I'm like, really? Don't ask for money. Fred has introduced me to the world of people that I grew up loving and watching. Joanne Worley, Ted Lange, lots of people. Alan Thicke, lots and lots of people. That's what I love about that whole group of people. And his wife, Mary Willard, is very kind also. Very helpful, supportive.
All right. In voicing for animation, the emotions and mannerisms that you convey have to be represented visually. Have there ever been any challenges that animators have expressed in depicting your characters that you voice?
I would say that most of the time they're very happy because they say that a lot of the weird sounds that I make inspire them to draw facial expressions like, I like pie. Yeah. So sometimes they're like, oh, I just want to go home, but he made a sound. And that's the take they took. So now I got to animate that.
You also host voice acting workshops and in introductory courses, as you've spoken about earlier in this interview. The primary focus is on playing pretend and getting people into feeling comfortable with impromptu acting.
Yes.
What hurdles do people usually have to overcome from having a planned idea of what they're going to say versus just being able to, go off the hip and...
Yeah. Well, I had an acting mentor. Her name was Diana Castle, and she used to use this analogy that I always loved, and it's true. When you're young and someone says, hey, let's go play, I'll give you an example. Did you play pretend when you were a kid? Give me an example. What did you play? Star Wars, or what'd you play?
Yeah, Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me an example. Who did you play in Star Trek?
Oh, gosh. Picard.
Picard. Okay. Give me an example of something you would say as Picard.
Oh, gosh. Mr. LaForge engage.
Mr. LaForge engage. Okay. So you would play Star Trek, and you would say, Mr. LaForge engage. And at the end of play pretend time, your mother or your dad would say, okay, come in, your friends have to go home, your brothers and sisters, whatever, you have to wash up now.
Yeah.
At the end of that play pretend time, did you ever go, let me ask you something. When I said, Mr. LaForge engage, did you believe me, or should I have gone, Mr. LaForge engage, Mr. LaForge engage? Or should I have gone, you didn't do that? Because you had the innocence of a child, you just played. But as we become older and we become self-conscious, we feel judged, people are watching us. Puberty, stuff like that. We stop playing pretend and start worrying about what others think. And that's what is the hurdle we always have to overcome. One of the steps I teach in the 5 steps that I teach is a willingness to play pretend, enter a secondary reality. Well, if you look at around a convention, everybody is entering secondary realities. That's why I love them. All the cosplayers, awesome.
All right. Are there any projects lined up for the future that you can discuss with us?
Yes. Mr. Ricky Simons, who I believe you're interviewing as well, and myself and the writer, one of the writers of Zim, Eric Trueheart, have a new podcast that's coming out called The Algonquin Taco Truck. And you can follow us on @Richard Horvitz on Twitter or @Ricky Simons on Twitter, and all the information will be up there when it loads.
All right, wonderful. Do you have any final messages for the fans that are watching?
Yes, don't tip over. Always a good one to live by.
Yeah.
Can never go wrong with that, right?
Yep. Sound advice. Thank you so much, Richard Horvitz.
Thank you.